How do you know when God has given you a song to put together or share?
Well, that is a question that has been asked before of me. It's hard to put into words. I think the best way for me to describe it is, for most people, you love your mom and dad, right? And you love your kids. Well, how do you know? How can you prove that? It's not really something you can put in a formula. It's just something you know because it's there. You feel it. You sense it. And for me, it's a very similar thing when I feel that it's something that God has given me to share, that it's just something I feel in my spirit. And it's not something that's easy to put into words. I don't even know if I can put it into words. It's just more of a kind of a sense that I have that God has given me something really good to work with here. And then what confirms that is as I work up the tunes, I experience the feelings like I talked about working up these tunes. And then I share it with a few people to get their perspective. And when I see the reactions, and I'm not just talking about, oh, that's nice, or wow, that's really neat, Jeremy. But I'm talking about people that will actually say, wow. Hello again. Today I'm going to answer 3 questions you wrote in. First question is, do you perform? The next question is, what instruments do you play? And the third question is, what genre is your music? So let's answer those questions. So let's start with the first question. Do you perform? I have performed in the past, and I've been a part of a couple of worship teams and done various types of performing. A lot of the venues that I performed in were small venues like cafes, church lobbies, small shops. Occasionally a pastor would ask me to do a song for a service, and sometimes 2 or 3 songs. But mostly it was just small and intimate, and sometimes I would have a captive audience, and sometimes I would just play in the background while people would enjoy their coffee and visiting. And a lot of the times that I did cafes was during Christmas time, and I would perform my Christmas album and allow them to just enjoy the music while I was playing in the background. One of the other live performances that I've been a part of is being on worship team. And in the worship team, I played various different instruments. Sometimes I would play the guitar, sometimes the electric guitar. Sometimes I would play on the drums, and sometimes I would play in the percussion sections. Whatever the need was, I would fill it, and was happy to do it. Currently, I don't perform. As you've seen in the previous videos, my schedule is pretty full. But beyond that, that's not really where my passion is. My passion is in creating music and recording it professionally and bringing other musicians in as well and being part of that experience, sharing that with you. The work that's involved in performing, setting up all the equipment, rehearsals, then doing the show and whatever else is involved in each particular performance, it is a huge time commitment. It's a lot of work, and it's just not something I really feel called to. So when you hear my performances on the recordings and you see the videos right now, that's about the extent of performing that I do. So that answers that question. And then also you can see in a couple of these videos different places that I have performed, so you can see that I've been part of that, but just not doing it currently. So the next question: what instruments do you play? And so I'm going to go through a short list here of instruments that I personally have played and instruments that I've recorded without the help of other musicians. So first of all, obviously, acoustic rhythm guitar is one of the mainstays of a guitar player, and or guitarist, if you will, to be a little more professional. But anyway, acoustic rhythm guitar, and here's a little sample of what that sounds like. Then I've also played acoustic lead guitar in a lot of different styles. We'll get to the genres and styles in just a minute. Electric rhythm guitar, power chords, things of that nature. Electric lead guitar, which entails a lot of soloing. I have played drums. Now, when I started playing drums, I was, I believe, 14 years old, and had a friend named Jim, who you will meet later in a later video. And I played guitar also, and so did my brother, and we used to jam with him all the time. And I had fun just jumping on his drum kit and playing around. Unfortunately, he was a left-handed drummer, and so that's the way I learned to play. So anytime you get on a worship team or a worship set, I've had to change the drums around to accommodate playing left-handed. Most drummers are right-handed. And so even though I am right-handed, I learned to play drums left-handed. And I've been playing drums off and on ever since. So the next instrument that I play, and this is one that I am comfortable enough playing live. I can play the drums live, I can play the guitars live. Percussions is another instrument or section of instruments. That includes instruments like egg shakers, hardwood claves, bongos, tambourine. You can even hear in one of my Christmas songs the sleigh bells. So those types of sounds are all in the percussion section, and when I do my recordings, I do all my own percussion work. Keyboards. That is another interesting instrument because it can produce so many different sounds depending on the keyboard you have. I have a really nice one, and it has about 500 different sounds that you can choose from. And because I don't have the kind of funds it takes to hire an orchestra, I often have to go to my keyboard and create my own string and orchestra sounds, as well as my voice and choir sounds for like background choir vocal type sounds. It produces nice flute sounds, violin, viola, cello, bell sounds, and a couple hundred other sounds, honestly. So the keyboard is great at filling up a piece, and I usually search out those programs on my keyboard and pick them one at a time by ear, depending on what type of song I'm doing and how I feel the sounds I'm working with is going to fit with the song I'm working on. So keyboard is a big instrument that covers a lot of bases. Bass guitar, that's another instrument I started playing when I was 16, and it's just an extension for me of playing acoustic guitar. Because I played acoustic guitar and I played electric guitar, bass was no problem. It actually, no offense to any bass players, but for me it feels like a very simple instrument to play, compared to playing, say, neoclassical style acoustic guitar. So that one was a natural fit for me. I've also played piano, and I dabbled in piano when I was younger, even before I started playing guitar. And I've always been playing around with the piano, but it wasn't until recently that I started developing more complicated pieces with the piano. And in my recordings, I've always kind of had this expectation for myself that I'm a guitar player. And so most of my music centers around the guitar taking the lead. But this new album that I'm working on, I kind of just started asking myself, well, I actually love playing the piano at times, and why not showcase that instrument and what I can do on that? My music doesn't always have to be just guitar. I can add vocals and just do a vocal piece. I can do an all keyboard piece. I can do an all piano piece. And so I made a decision a few years back that I'm just not going to limit myself to just one instrument when I can play these other instruments. And so I'm just going to go ahead and expand my creativity and expand myself as a musician and put myself out there a little bit more. And that's why on this new album you're going to hear a few piano tunes that are solely piano tunes. There is no guitar present. And then other songs where you hear a combination of piano and guitar. But I am starting to implement more piano work in my music. And the last instrument is vocals, which is me actually singing. And that has come as I have become more comfortable being exposed. For a lot of people, singing is great. And some people can sing professionally and they have no problem with it. Other people have no problem putting their voice out there, and you kind of wish they would, quiet down a little bit, because frankly their voices are not that good, but it doesn't matter. What's important is what sings to your heart. And there are times when vocals do move me, and so because of the range of my voice, I have to be very selective about what types of songs I sing on. So in a nutshell, I am adding some vocals, but I'm not changing or morphing into a all vocal type album where you've got 10 or 15 songs that are all vocals. I think for me it's always going to be a mixture, and vocals will be just one of the flavors of the many flavors that you add to the overall experience. So those are the instruments that I play, and all of those instruments I have played in my recordings without the help of other musicians, and I've also brought in other musicians to play some of those. I've brought in a guy named James to play drums that I told you about. I brought in Jean-Pierre to play piano. I brought in some vocalists like Lisa White, Harvey Longenecker, and there's going to be more vocals in this new album on one song in particular. And so I've also brought in my oldest brother Bill to sing vocals. So there are a bunch of vocals that you'll be seeing now that you have never seen in my past work. And so I'm excited to share that with you. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that episode. Real quick, just want to give you some information. If you are looking for these albums, you can find my music on iTunes or Amazon MP3. There's other websites that are available on, but those are the most prominent. You just go into their search engines, you type in Jeremie Heston. My first name is spelled Jeremie, and my last name is spelled Heston. So type those in the search engines and the album should come up and you can download them. They're not very expensive. Also, if you haven't been able to follow every episode of the video series, both season 1 and season 2 are going to be available on YouTube. And you just simply type in Jeremie Heston, My Journey Making Music. And then of course, whatever episode number you're looking for. So for example, Jeremie Heston, My Journey Making Music, episode 1. Type that in and you'll be able to find all of the episodes. Season 1 has 22 episodes, and season 2 I think is going to have 10 or 12 episodes. I'm not sure at this point, but I'll put a little video at the end of those episodes when I get to that. So anyway, thanks again for watching. Thank you for your support, and God bless you.